I wonder if I could. Oh gosh, it's kind of like a beard, isn't it? What do you think? Is it me? It's been a long quarantine. Welcome. So many wonderful indie and small author books out there that they're stunning, and I really feel like more people need to be reading these books. So today we're going to be talking about indie and self-pub authors who really, their books are excellent and I cannot recommend them enough. They're so well written, they're so all-consuming. I cannot wait for more people to read these books. Right off the bat, The Big Book of Silly Jokes for Kids by Carole P. Roman. She has published so many books. I'll link the video down below to all the books she's published. But this one gets a special shout out because of its incredible success on Amazon. And this is actually so exciting for me to see as a reviewer of her works. It has over 1,000 reviews on Amazon. And I remember when it was just a little baby book and only had like 10 or less reviews. So I'm so excited. This is a joke book for kids, over 800 jokes, tons of silly facts, adorable illustrations. It's a good way to kind of like lighten the mood if you're stuck inside for quite a bit of time. So this one here is an absolutely adorable themed cookbook. This one is based off of Little Women, which is the wonderful and gorgeous classic by Louise May Alcott. It's one of my favorite books of all times. So when I was asked to review a cookbook, I could not agree more. Get those good scratchies in there. I really adored this book. It has little excerpts from the text from each of the characters and the recipes that they are known for or are associated with in the original book. The recipes themselves are period appropriate and really exciting to delve into. I've tried a few of them. It worked out really well so far. I haven't tried Joe's Disastrous Dinner yet, but I think I'll get there eventually. All in all, this one is really sweet. I absolutely adored it, and I love the attention to detail that the authors put forth in this book. Kerrys Party Sunday is a rather sweet book, and it's about the adventures that Kerry goes on with her newfound friend Leroy, who's afraid of being kidnapped by aliens. It ends up being like a super adorable children's book, and I really love the dimension that the author gives all of the characters. I feel like a lot of children's books will just kind of sum it up as he's the bad guy, so we all will hate him. But this book does a wonderful job of humanizing all of the characters in there and really teaching children empathy through that. Also, the plot was exciting, it was fresh, and it was going from the very first moment, which ended up making it a lot of fun for me as a reader. Wabam! So these two were sent to me from Rockridge Press, part of a series, and it's a biography book where they learn about different people throughout history and kind of like what their impact was. So we have Harriet Tubman and we have Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and these are my two favorites of this series. I just love the content, the illustration, the background to these characters' lives. This one did a really great job of breaking down difficult topics for young readers without trying to sugarcoat anything, but still putting it forth in a very age-appropriate manner. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, oh my gosh, I love this book. I love this woman. I never really knew too much about RBG before this one, and it ended up teaching me a lot about her history and a lot about what she's done over the years in the Supreme Court. It ends up being such a good book for that. Plus, with both of these, the illustrations are absolutely adorable, and I love illustrated books, so like there's everything to love about this series. Next up, 3-book series. I've read all 3 of these so far. This is set in Howard County. There is a killer on the loose, and very quickly they find out that the killer is choosing its victim based off of the Fibonacci sequence. I love it when you have a really clever killer, which is definitely the case with this one. Very fast paced. I loved the characters in this one. Each character is given a very brief snapshot. They're very quickly introduced, but yet they're very memorable at the same time. So many things happening in this series, and yet it was very believable and very followable. Other books in this series are also very good, and they're a lot of fun to read as well. I really liked puzzling out the murders. All in all, a very good book. Moving right along. So, I am a huge fan of animal books. This is a fabulous animal book. Match made in heaven, am I right? So this is a animal fact book, 500 wild facts about animals. There's all sorts of, you didn't see that, did you? All sorts of animals. They're categorized in a really quirky way, such as big mamas, skates and rays. I love all of the pictures on this book. There's so many photographs. It's just incredible. And it ended up being a lot of fun to read. I guess my only complaint about this one is I wanted more facts. I mean, I'm given 500, but I wanted even more than what I was given. But I'm really greedy when it comes to animal books, so since we're all at home, we might as well experiment in the kitchen. It's all kinds of experiments to do in your kitchen, but what's really fun about it is that they're all edible. So this could be just like a snack or a side dish or a main course, but every single recipe in this book also is teaching a specific principle of science. I mean, there's technology, there's art, there's math. There is a theme for everything. And I really thought that these were a lot of fun, not only for the intended audience, but also for someone who just enjoys experimenting in the kitchen in general. These are two very cute books written by completely different people. This one focuses on Greek gods and goddesses, and this one focuses on Egyptian mythology. This one in particular focuses on goddesses of ancient Greece. And I really enjoyed getting their own origin story. Greek mythology is something that I've been into ever since I read my very first Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So it was a lot of fun to kind of revisit some of those tales as I had heard them in that series, but more of their official retelling. I loved Artemis, I loved Athena. I don't think I've read Kerrys' story very often, so that was a lot of fun to read. So if you're looking for a very quick handbook on Greek mythology, this is definitely a great one to go to. And of course, next we have our Egyptian mythology one. This one, I learned a lot in this one. I'm not as familiar with Egyptian mythology as I am with Greek mythology, and it showed when I was reading this one. I had no idea that there's so many stories that contradict each other within their religion, and they were all equally true. Also, what I really thought was kind of cool with this one is it had all these connections to history, the origins of the Sphinx, the pyramids, etc., etc. A lot of history in one very compact story. And I know it's a picture book, but like, I loved it. So what can we be? It's a children's picture book, and it kind of has like a Disney-esque style to the characters where they're very well drawn and they're very animated as well. And the whole purpose of this story is to show dads and daughters on adventures. They're superheroes, they're dragons, they're knights, they're pirates. And what really stood out about this one to me is there isn't a mom. And I know that sounds like really kind of weird, but like if you go to any library and you pick up a children's book, what do you see? You see mommy and me. You see mommy, daddy, and me. You don't really see dad and daughters or dad and sons together as much as you see mom. So I love that this book had only dads and daughters, because there's so many families out there that are just dad and me, and I love the representation from this. This one, I just love the illustrations. So many different families in this book. Definitely deserves a lot of recognition. Also, the author signed it for me. You ever read a book and it just makes your heart happy? So this series is absolutely stunning and I love it. Okay, it's not series yet, but I've been in contact with the author and he's writing the second book, so like it's pretty much a series. It's almost a guaranteed thing. Just let me have this, will you? What are you doing? mainly follows Archibald Finch. It does follow his sister a little bit. Archibald is a very, very smart for his age, and he finds a... What you doing, bug? His grandmother's passed away, and he and his family has moved to his grandmother's house. He finds this mysterious globe, and he's able to open it, and it sucks him into a new world. And this new world is full of witches, full of these creatures, like these horrible, terrifying, man-eating, woman-eating creatures called Marauders. And he has to try and find a way out. Only no one has ever found a way out in the last 300 years. Meanwhile, in the real world, his sister Haley, she's the only one who knows what happened to her brother, and she's desperate to get him out. But nothing she is doing is working, and the more she tries, the more she realizes that there's somebody else besides her who knows what the globe can do, and they want it for themselves. This book was stunning. I loved it. I especially enjoyed the illustrations. I'm a huge fan of illustrations for these books, and like if you can see like on the cover, like that quality illustration throughout the book, and that really brought it up from a great book to an incredible book. And I'm so excited the author is currently writing another one. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I'm really looking forward to that. Alright, last but certainly not least is Beneath Cruel Fathoms. And it's so well written, and the storyline is just so compelling that I could not put it down from like the moment I picked it up. It was amazing. So this book follows a merman, and he is the last of the mermen in existence, and he serves as the guardian of the ocean. He knows that there's something very, very wrong happening in the oceans, but no one believes him, and he has to try and go about an unconventional way of getting evidence. And that unconventional way just how happens to be talking with humans and saving a human woman. This human woman is going back to her family after a failed marriage because she's infertile. And she witnesses what's happening in the oceans and decides to help out the merman. So the two of them are trying to figure this together. It has a little bit of slow burn romance going in it, but so much of it is fueled by this intricate plot that I was on a journey for this book, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was so well done, and it really, wow, it was stunning. It was stunning. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed some of my favorite indie authors. Happy reading. Bye.